Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brave Bold Women podcast. I am your host, Kathy Alessandra, the Yes I Can coach, and I am very excited that you have joined us today. Today, we have a very special guest, and with the times the way they are and the challenges that we're facing and what I see many of you really struggling with or asking for is some support around health in general. And so this was the perfect opportunity to bring somebody on that has spoken to me, whose program I've been doing and has really changed some lives personally that I know of. Now, Amanda Nighbert is a registered dietitian and fitness enthusiast. Her passion and purpose is to empower others who want to get back on track and take control of their health. With 18 years of knowledge and experience under her belt, she is able to guide others in their weight loss and wellness journeys. With her custom lean program, a range of coaching services, and multiple shop offerings, she has cultivated a brand that focuses on giving participants the leading tools and most current cutting-edge nutritional techniques that not only provide the results you're looking for, but also a sustainable lifestyle, which is so important. It's all about the long term. It's not the short term, ladies. Now, community means everything to her. So to serve her clients best, she carefully crafts a multitude of resources in both her city or your city physically and online communities to help you overcome weight loss plateaus, inform clients of the best tips and tricks and resources near you, really all about that healthier eating and, giving you a really, truly fabulous lifestyle to go away. So Amanda, welcome to the call today. I am so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a difficult time for all of us. And, it's a new challenge, but, challenges can provide possibilities and opportunities. And as we were talking about a little bit before we got on today's message was all about, what are you going to do with this time that you're at home? So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Lean program, what it is that you've created, why you created it, and how you help and support and serve women?
Yes. Again, my name is Amanda Nighbert. I'm a registered dietitian, and I run a program called Lean. It stands for Living Energized and Nourished. And really, as a registered dietitian working in a clinical setting for over 16 years, I felt like my clients were always coming to me trying to be successful, trying to lose weight, trying to be healthy, and doing it in the ways that we were taught, low calorie, low fat, exercise more, eat less. But at the end of the day, they weren't seeing the progress that they wanted to see. And it really kind of took my own health situation. I was diagnosed with really high cholesterol, over 300, when I was 32 years old, to realize that, what we've been teaching people is completely wrong. And that it's not, the food guide pyramid got us here. Eating 6 small meals a day got us here. And we needed to make kind of a radical change in the way we looked at nutrition. But we also needed to find something that could be sustainable. And that's really what I try to preach the most in the Lean program, is that whatever you do to lose the weight, you have to be prepared to do to keep it off. It's kind of like what you mentioned, a lot of times women are looking for a quick fix. They want something where they can see results fast. And unfortunately, when we do something that creates fast results, it's typically not sustainable. It's not something that we can do forever. So the minute we stop doing those things, what happens? We gain it all back. So it's that kind of diet roller coaster that people find themselves on. So I really strive in Lean to teach people how to find that balance. I always say you got to get over that dieter's mindset, that all or nothing, because a lot of the women that I work with, you're either 100% on track or not. We have a really hard time finding that kind of middle of the road where we give ourselves grace on Christmas, a holiday, our birthday, a family gathering. And we have the ability to get right back on track with our lifestyle and not beat ourselves up for the fun that we had. So that's really kind of the foundation of, why I created Lean and what the structure is about.
I think it's so important. People, women, we're looking for that quick fix, that next thing that's going to, make it all go away, or that pill or whatever, right? And if I've not learned anything in over the years, I'm not sure whether I shared with you, but I had lost about 75 pounds and have kept it off a number of years, although it's creeping back up with, various things. And that's why I had joined your program in December. But I think it's, so important to understand this long-term healthy lifestyle. And even when we're facing challenges like this, it's even more important to stick with that and be feeding our body those nutritious whole foods, right?
Yeah. And I really hope that the scenario in which we're in, so, obviously, just to really make light of what we're dealing with, we're filming this right in the kind of the beginning of the COVID-19 scenario. We're, in that shelter in place type of scenario. Probably it's going to happen for a couple more weeks. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes we're so focused on weight loss that we forget the importance of wellness. Right now, this is really a situation of immunity. And those that are the most immune compromised, whether that be because you have diabetes or hypertension, because you have an autoimmune disease, because you have a leaky gut, whatever that may be that is making you immune compromised, you are at such a greater risk of, if you contract this, virus, that it's fatal. Whereas those of us that have, really learned to cultivate a healthier lifestyle, that it's not always just about weight loss, but it's about nourishing our body. I want to live to be 120 years old, and I want to live to be 120 years old and thrive. Mm-hmm. So, when I look at food and nutrition, it's not solely about what's going to make me lose weight and what's going to make me gain weight. It's about, what's going to fuel my body, what's going to give me the vitamins and minerals I need to increase my immunity, what's going to make me healthier, so I can function at the highest level. I talk about, there are two subsets of people right now. There are people who are just trying to survive, through this scenario. And then there's another set of people that are looking at it in a whole different way and are looking to thrive, through the scenario. So it's a challenge that I'm making to my clients right now. Are you just going to survive? Take it day by day, just, get through the day, make it, in that fear and that anxiety and that stress eating and the alcohol drinking? Or are you going to take this opportunity, and where potentially we've been given the gift of time, more time, less activities, less rat race, to find ways to actually thrive during the scenario. So it's really interesting to see the different dynamic between those two groups.
Right. It is, yes. And you can see it on social media, and people are talking about it, right? It is absolutely, even greater reason for excuses, for some, but, it's also the opportunity to, kick it up a notch. I had said to, some of my followers, there was a major name brand app that had opened it up for 90 days free. That Peloton app, they had 90 days free for classes or whatever online, right? And we still need to be moving our bodies. I mean, there's an important piece in that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go to the gym, but there are, there's other things that we can do.
And so take advantage.
Right.
If you're not taking advantage of all that free stuff coming your way, then again, you're just creating another excuse. So now you have the time, it's free, so now what's your excuse? Right. And it could be that I'm just overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I have too much anxiety. But again, it's kind of like what we were talking about before. In my mind, that means there's always going to be an excuse. If all these barriers have been opened up for you, time, free, and then you still have this barrier, then it's almost like, will there ever not be a barrier,
Right. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a mindset issue. And I'm sure you focus on that a ton. And, in Lean, because it's a 7-week program, and then a lot of people choose to do the repeat around. So you do this first 7 weeks. And in the first 7 weeks, we really focus on the nutritional education, to break through the clutter, give you the facts to what you should be focused on right now. We talk about advanced nutritional strategies such as intermittent fasting, macro management, macronutrients or carbohydrates, proteins, and fats versus calorie management, whole food nutrition. But when you go into my repeater round, which is kind of like your next 7 weeks, that's where we focus solely on mindset, you know? So now you have all the information, you have the knowledge. So how are you going to make this a lifestyle? You know, how are you going to be able to, power through the hard times in your life, the stressful times in your life, the vacations, the weekends away, you know, the things that may have set you back in the past that got you off track. What we really focus on in that second round is how are we going to tackle those and handle those so it's not we don't repeat the same cycle.
Right, right. Which is so important. I mean, the mindset is that's the game changer.
It
Like
really
said,
is.
the two. I mean, I was amazed that when I signed up for the first session and the number of recipes, and I love the fact that you are in there every day, commenting and interacting and engaging with the people, the women, and so it gives people really that accountability piece.
Yeah.
So many of us really need. That's an awesome piece. And then the explaining and walking us through the intermittent fasting and the whole food nutrition and the macronutrient, all of that, right? I just a great program. Really, I love what you've created here.
I always say this is not a passive program.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you pay and then get a book and good luck.
Right.
You know, this is definitely, we are holding your hand.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why so many people are so successful, is because we do so much to make sure you don't fail. You know,
Right.
even if I don't see you in the group, it's all run through my free private app. So no social media is needed. You know, you download my free app. And if I don't see you posting in the group for a couple of days, you get an email and it says, hey, I've noticed you've not been around. Like, you can't get away from me. We really try to do everything that we can to make sure you don't fail, you know?
Right.
And I think that that's powerful.
Right. So tell me a little bit about when and why you started Lean when you did.
So in 2017, up to 2017, like I said, I'd been a clinical dietitian working in a hospital for 16 years, the same position. It was the best RD gig that you could ever have. But it was like, I had nowhere to go. I had, there was no other job to strive for. There was no bigger pay raise to get. I could work, honestly, as little as I wanted or as much as I wanted, and would be rewarded the same 2% every year. And I was just frustrated. I felt like I was just destined to do more and could create more for myself. And so I was introduced to this kind of online space, creating these kind of online programs, and it piqued my interest. And especially when I started to look in the space and saw that there weren't many dietitians out there kind of owning this field. Most of the successful people in the weight loss industry were personal trainers. Right. And in my opinion, people that are far less educated than I am, as a, professional, as a registered dietitian. I have a degree, I have an internship, I had to pass a board exam, a certification. So I really wanted to kind of leverage that. Plus, I had a huge passion for health and wellness. So I kind of stepped into the field with initially doing a bariatric program because I specialized in patients with weight loss surgery. And at the same time, did a wellness program side by side and found that my, wellness program for the general population kind of grew much quicker than my bariatrics. So I launched in 2017. In 2018, I decided to pivot. So, as an entrepreneur, I'd say, recognizing when something's not working and something is, the ability to, go towards what's growing. Right. So I dropped my bariatric program. I went all in on my wellness program, branded it Lean, Living Energized and Nourished, and kind of, set forth to make that kind of my signature program. And it's just been amazing, really since day one, with the ability to kind of get out and start growing my following. Right. I think one of the most, what I think is pretty incredible with what I've done is I started with absolutely nothing. And I know you're really big in this entrepreneurial space. And I had no website. I had no office. I had no marketing experience. I mean, I was just a registered dietitian. And
Right.
my only marketing strategy was simply to leverage social media with massive amounts of content. Very non-salesy, you know, let me give you tons of information. And then at the end, I'll be like, hey, if this, you know, piqued your interest and you need help, I'm here for you. And with that, you know, I've really kind of grown my following and my clientele, from 400 Instagram followers to, you know, almost 27,000. And I haven't spent, you know, I may have spent a couple $100 on Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So zero ads, just completely all in on that social media strategy.
And do you still use that as your primary way to reach new people?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I'm really focused in on content creation, putting out that content. I think it's what has been most successful for me, and kind of mixing it up, you know, with the science side of nutrition, you know, educating people about that with, you know, recipe development, cooking, with lifestyle stuff. You know, sometimes it's really funny. I did a video on Instagram on how I blow dry my hair to get a lot of volume. And it's my biggest watched video. I mean, you know.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, well, there you go. We all want what we don't have.
I mean, I guess. So, you know, it's little things like that that have made me realize, okay, you know, sometimes I do need to step outside of nutrition and recipes, you know, to maybe connect with all of my, you know, some of my followers may be over all that stuff. And then I blow dry my hair and they're like, oh, I'm back. You got me back. So yeah, I mean, that's honestly been, you know, my number one strategy. And I will say, you know, anytime someone reaches out to me and is like, Amanda, you know, what should I do? It is the hardest to put yourself out there, you know, to go live on Facebook, to go live on Instagram, to make this content. It's, you know, I think we as entrepreneurs and content creators make it look easy, but it's a lot of work and it's scary. And I remember the first 6 months, you know, every single time I would push that live button, I would have like practiced for an hour before, you know, and I would have like butterflies in my stomach and I'd be thinking, what are people going to think about me? And now it's like, you know, I recognize it's just part of my job and it's a little bit more, you know, effortless. So, but yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I love that. You know, you brought up a good point here that you were afraid of what people were going to think, right? And I think that stops so many entrepreneurs in their tracks because they're worried about how they're going to be viewed or whether their makeup's perfect or whatever, right? I mean, not everybody can see me today, but I still need to go get my exercise, according to my fitness coach here, my weight loss coach. Yeah. And so, right after here, I'm leaving and heading out for a bike ride. So it's, you know, but putting yourself out there, getting out, it's a very scary thing for women, and the fear of judgment and all of that. How did you kind of work through that?
You know, the best thing for me was honestly to schedule my content, to not allow myself an excuse to not do it. So in the beginning, I would try to wing it and I'd be like, oh, like kind of like you said, oh, you know, I don't look pretty enough today, or, you know, oh, I don't feel as prepared today. My message doesn't seem as polished and perfect. So I wouldn't do it. And then it would be like 2 weeks and I hadn't done anything. And I recognized like, I can't do that. So I took a step back and really kind of sat down with a calendar, and like in my phone, I put noon, Facebook Live, how to read a food label, and put my bullets. And then on Friday, you know, noon, Facebook Live, why fat is not the enemy, you know? So I would prep probably 2 to 3 months at a time. And so that was the biggest thing for me, to just say, you know what, get over it. And it was really just about the more I did it, then eventually it just didn't matter, you know? You get over what others were thinking, because you get really good feedback. Yeah. And that's always, I think, interesting. I think a lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, people think, I don't have something new to say, you know, especially for entrepreneurs that are kind of in the same space, you know, maybe you're doing skincare or you're doing, you know, jewelry. It's like the other person saying the same thing. Well, I mean, your followers may not be watching them. So, you know, the fear of being repetitive, it's like, well, then create 3 months worth of content and you don't repeat something over and over. And then in 3 months you can say it again, but it's been 12 weeks since the last time you mentioned it.
Right.
So that really helped me. So I didn't feel like I was saying the same thing over and over. And then also just holding myself accountable. And then, you know, once you start getting that positive feedback, once you start seeing that little momentum, because it's slow, it doesn't happen overnight. Then it just becomes more effortless.
Right. Love it. I love the fact, as the marketing coach and working with women who are on that marketing plan, having it out for 3 months, that is critical. I love that you actually did that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, because I would, and I know a lot of women are like this. We get up in the morning, we're like, okay, I've got to do an Instagram post. You know, I've got to do a social media post. It's like, what am I going to do? And you literally spend 3 hours of your day curating a stupid picture and a comment, you know, and a caption. And it's like that, you don't have time for that. You know, if you're really looking to scale and grow a business, you don't have 3 hours to do that. So I would sit there and I would also create like themes for my day. So, you know, Mindset Monday, Tasty Tuesday, Fitness Friday. So it would help me create the content even quicker. So, okay, Fridays, I'm going to do fitness. So here are my fitness videos. Boom, there's 12 of them. There's 12 weeks worth. You know, okay, Tuesdays, I'm going to do a recipe. Here's 12 recipes. So it made that content come together a lot quicker. And then when it was done, because I do use a scheduling system, I use Buffer. And then I have Buffer like sends them to me and then I post them. But it just makes that, I'd rather spend 2 days, 3-4 times a year dedicated on creating that content than trying to do it every day.
Yeah, it does. It makes it so much easier. So tell me, in growing the business here over the last few years, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
I would say, you know, my biggest challenge has been just the pace in which my business has grown, which is, I guess, a great challenge to have. But this has been a one-man show for a really long time. I was the marketing director. I was the dietitian. I was the, you know, the coach in my program. You know, I did everything.
The videographer.
The videographer. Yes. The editor, you know, everything. And, you know, as my business started to grow, I realized that, you know, I can't do it all. And so really, figuring out how to grow that kind of leadership aspect of my team has been probably the most challenging. And also just the consideration of like, what's next, you know, as you continue to kind of push yourself to, you know, grow in this space. So it's been a challenge. I would say I've been pretty lucky. I mean, so far, every single person that I've added to my team has been a 10. And that's not always the case, especially when you're adding. You know, I mean, I went from me to, I now have over 20 employees that work for me. So adding that many employees that quickly, you know, sometimes doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And did you start immediately with hiring employees versus using virtual services, or how did you know what was right for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, my first hire was an assistant, you know, someone to kind of help me with client management and that stuff. And it was actually my sister-in-law, which can go good. We met and she was kind of looking for a job and I said, hey, 1 month. Okay. In 1 month, you can bow out with no hard feelings. And in 1 month, I can bow out with no hard feelings, you know?
Right.
Because I didn't want to burn those bridges. And luckily it's been a match made in heaven. So I don't really use any virtual. You know, I've been lucky enough to be able to tap into people locally that have collaborated and worked well.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So let me ask you this. How do you define success? Not only in your business, but how would you help somebody define success in even their health goals?
Yeah, I think that's good. So one of the things in Lean that people hate is we don't let our clients weigh. every week.
Mm-hmm.
So you do an assessment, weight, measurement, photos in prep week, week 1. And then you're not allowed to make any assessments for 7 weeks. And the reason for that is because women are quick to give up. And I think that they give up for what they feel like are valid reasons. Oh, it's not working, so therefore I'm going to give up. But the reality is that women don't let something give it enough time to work. And I'm sure we can see that in that entrepreneurial space as well. You know, people grind it out for 2, 3, 4 weeks and they don't see the traction they expected to see, so they give up.
Right.
You know, and it's the same with like weight loss, health, and wellness. This is not a short-term journey. This is, you know, this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. So I think that that's unique. And I'm always surprised at how impressed people are at the end of 7 weeks. Like, wow, you know, I only lost 7 pounds, but I lost, you know, 15 inches and I've dropped a whole pant size. And it's almost like, had they been relying on the scale to keep them motivated to move forward, they would have given up, because the scale is not your friend. It doesn't really show the progress that your body's actually making. So I think it's interesting when you say, you know, how do you measure success? Because, you know, success in your health space has to be more about how much better are you sleeping? How much more energy do you have? You know, how do you feel? You know, those are what I would look at to measure your success. You know, are you losing inches? Are you getting in a different dress size? And then, you know, what does the scale say? Because it's always the worst indicator of progress, for sure. So I think with regards to measuring your health, you definitely want to have a lot of different parameters. And you want to recognize that, you know, forward is forward. And maintenance is a good thing. So even when maybe you've lost 10 pounds and you're just stuck there, you know, well, that's not a bad thing. You know, bad is to gain all the 10 pounds back.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to live in that maintenance and then recommit and go to the next level. So, you know, we kind of forget that. With regards to my business, you know, how do I measure success? You know, for me, I think it's just a matter of just kind of like that steady, you know, kind of growth that helps me keep moving forward, you know, whether it be with my social media following, which is my main marketing objective. You know, if I can see a couple of new followers a day, then I'm good. I'm like, okay, I'm making progress. With the growth of my program, you know, have I met my numbers? You know, am I the same, which I'll take maintenance, you know, this round, or am I more? You know, that's good for me. I don't want to see less than this time last year. Now, obviously, things are going to be much different over the next couple of weeks. I mean, we're all going to take a hit with regards to our business. But I will say that it's very interesting, because if I was in my clinical face-to-face one-on-one job, I'd probably be filing for unemployment right now, because my company probably would have laid me off. Because we're non-essential. I was in a non-essential, you know, position. And, you know, that's the pattern that's going on. I see that with personal trainers and gym owners and all of those things. You know, basically everything is shut down.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm in this virtual space is allowing me to continue with my business with very little interruption, other than, you know, the state of the market. I mean, people being more financially aware and things like that. But it's a powerful platform to consider. And, you know, one of the things that I'm working on in the rest of 2020 is to teach other healthcare professionals how to implement a virtual group scalable program just like this.
Right. I think that's important. You know, it's funny. I used to be a big proponent of, you've got to get out from behind your computer. Right. You know, I mean, and I do feel that way once things step back up, you know, meeting people and having that face to face. But Zoom and things like it have given us such an ability to connect with people and still engage and build that relationship and build that know, like, and trust factor with somebody. Right. And so how can you take that into your business, especially with, you know, where the status of things in the world is right now? And it allows us to be able to continue working in a business teaching, training, coaching, connecting, right? Supporting, because we have this. So I think in both of those things, one of the words, what you were sharing too, what came up for me was consistency. It's consistency, 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 being consistent in whatever you're doing in your business, in your health goals, and having consistency. So,
Kathy, it is the C word.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it really, really is the foundation to life, to being successful at life. You know, anything you do, it is about being consistent. And, you know, I think as Americans, we struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we kind of go, we definitely live in this all or nothing mindset with regards to health and wellness, even, you know, entrepreneurship. We burn ourselves out and then we do nothing, you know, so I'm really about, in whatever space that you're in, whether it be growing a business or improving your health, you've got to look at whatever you're doing as sustainable, you know, and if it doesn't feel sustainable, you shouldn't be doing it, because ultimately it's going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Right. Right. Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we have listeners and watchers who are wanting to connect with you, find out more about the Lean program, find out more about you. Where would they go to do that? Yeah,
I mean, you know, my website, amandanighbert.com, you know, kind of houses all my information. I'm super active on Instagram. You know, there's a lot of talk about different platforms, especially during this time. TikTok is really blowing up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just don't have the capacity to learn another platform. But, you know, that is something that I'm aware of, that in order for me to stay relevant, I can't, you know, if you grew your business on Facebook, you know, 10 years ago, well, I mean, Facebook's dead. Mm-hmm. So you have to have the ability to shift over to these new platforms. But at this moment, I'm super active on Instagram. It's where most of my content comes out. So follow me on Instagram, Amanda Nighbert RD.
Okay, awesome, wonderful. My last and final question for you is, what is next for you as a brave, bold woman?
Well, definitely continuing to curate my, you know, Lean program, grow it to an even bigger scale than it already is. And then, like I said, I'm working on a separate platform called Spring. And it's a platform that's going to allow, you know, all professionals the opportunity to learn how to run group scalable online programs, whether it be fitness, whether it be functional medicine, whether it be business coaching, you know, things like that. So I know that my success has been super elevated when I started my platform. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the platform that I curated with Lean is so applicable to so many other people. So I'm really excited. We're going to be launching that in August. So more to come about that.
Oh, exciting. Very exciting. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today and connecting with our listeners and sharing your information. I hope everybody does. I hope they've listened, taken away a couple of key pieces here. Connect with her on Instagram or on her website. The program has been phenomenal, and I know there's a number of friends that out here in Los Angeles that are doing the program, and she's got them starting continuously. So if you're looking to kind of get on board and have some accountability for a healthier lifestyle all the way around with a lot of support around that, it's a perfect place to be. So
thank you.
Anyway, I hope everybody has a great day. We'll look forward to connecting with you on our next Brave Bold Women podcast. Until then, stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.